while you keep fiddling around with that dumb engine. Nothing ever works around here except me.
Well, Claire, the engine just stalled. I'll have it fixed in a minute.
And you know how I hate to sit in the sun. You know how bad it is for my skin. Well, if you think I'm gonna put up with this, you got another thing coming. The wife of a man who owns himself a lodge, well, she don't expect herself to be down on her hands and knees scrubbing no floor.
Never asked you to scrub floors. Oh. It's not demeaning to be a hostess while meals are being served.
Well, I should hope not, because my daddy didn't raise me up to be no hired hand. If he could see me now, he'd have a fit.
Voice of hers. How it grates on my nerves.
I don't care what you deny. Not a day goes by you don't go snooping around that redhead. You and your fancy lodge. Ain't nothing but a hole in the wilderness. Ain't nothing to do out here. Ain't nobody out here but a bunch of old ladies and senile old men. As a matter of fact, I think I'll just take me the next bus out of here, and I don't need no invitation from you.
Will you sit down in the boat? Oh. Just stop it, huh?
Looks like some late mail came in for you, Mr.
Stop that.
Don't do it. Don't take your hands off of me.
Watch out what you're doing, huh?
You.
What the devil's he doing to her?
Don't you let me go. Don't go out.
My gracious. See her.
Oh, crazy! Claire! Claire! That's all I know, Sheriff. The owner of the lodge, killing his wife out on the lake. Of course I saw it. It's plain murder.
Lon? It's been a long time.
Mr. Jones, thanks for coming up. I hope you don't think I was taking advantage just because I knew your son.
Oh, I'm always glad to hear from Hal's old friends.
He didn't do it, Mr. Jones. Gil, Mr. Atkins, it just didn't happen the way people are saying.
Has he been charged yet?
Last night, right after I phoned you, they're calling it a suspicion of murder.
Well, let's start out by your telling me everything exactly as you saw it.
Lon, excuse me.
Good.
Lon, I hate to disturb you with all this excitement going on, but my TV isn't working. Do you think you could fix it?
Yeah, I'll have it taken care of right away. It's those new jacks they put in.
Well, whenever you get the chance.
Now, what did you see, Lon?
Trouble is, I don't know exactly what I saw. I know they were arguing out on the lake, and then Gil's wife screamed, and everybody's saying Gil hit her with the oar, but it couldn't have happened like that. I know Gil.
Has he made a statement to the sheriff?
Gil swears he was just trying to keep her from falling out of the boat. And the oar, he was just trying to reach her with it, not hit her. Gil doesn't swim. Neither did Claire. That's Miss Renford. She's a guest. Would you like me to point out where it happened?
Mm-hmm.
They were just to the right of where the sheriff's boat is now.
About 100 yards from here.
Yeah, and at that distance, you can't see everything. That's what I told Mr. Wright.
We all like Mr. Atkins too, Lon, but that wife of his was well...
For a woman sleeping and drinking the day away, snappish even at a good morning? Our sympathies are with Mr. Atkins, but to a point, that is.
Don't misunderstand us, Lon, but anybody who carried on the way Mrs. Atkins did, especially yesterday morning.
Claire went up and barged right into Miss Renford's cabin. You could hear Claire's voice all over the lake.
What were they arguing about?
Claire thought Gil was paying too much attention to Miss Renford, but Gil's always looking after the comfort of every guest.
I take it you folks are all going to be appearing as witnesses against Mr. Atkins?
Yes. With all due respect to Lon's friendship for Mr. Atkins, the whole thing took place right in front of our very eyes. Seeing is believing.
You know, ma'am, I wasn't too old when my grandfather took me to see a young fellow named Harry Houdini, who was appearing in our town. And at an early age, I learned two things. One, you can't eat a hot dog and cotton candy at the same time. And two, believing everything you see is nearly as bad as having to see everything you believe.
Jones? Sure glad you could come. Lon's talked about you often.
Do they really ski in outfits like that these days?
Yeah, and I don't know where it's going to end. You talked to Lon?
Mr. Atkins, have you hired yourself a good lawyer?
A fellow named Fred Baumiller. He's a local attorney, but I'm sure he's all I'll need. After all, it's Lon's word against that of those guests, most of whom are at the age where I wouldn't trust their eyesight or their judgment.
I doubt if a friend and employee would outweigh impartial witnesses.
But they couldn't have seen me kill my wife. Mr. Jones, I jumped in the water and I don't swim. I held onto the side of the boat. I reached out my arm to her. I called her name. Those witnesses, they'll have to tell you that. They'll have to tell you that they heard me call her name.
Playing the devil's advocate, you could have been just a man who suddenly came to his senses and realized that he had killed somebody in front of a bunch of people.
Yes, I suppose it could be taken that way, but it wasn't. None of what they thought they saw happened.
What really happened?
She stood up in the boat. She'd been drinking that morning, and I was afraid she was going to fall over the side, just that.
The guests are saying you pushed her out of the boat.
She pushed away from me. Mr. Jones, what possible motive could I have for killing Claire?
Mr. Atkins, if I'm going to be working for you, I've got to have complete honesty. Now, don't tell me that there is no possible motive when you and your wife were constantly quarreling. And what about that attractive red-headed guest, Miss Renford?
All right. I'll admit, I probably was paying too much attention to Sharon Renford. And it's true. Claire and I did constantly fight. Mr. Jones, I probably made one of the biggest mistakes of my life when I married her. But do I look like the kind of a man who would lose his temper to the point that I would take an oar and brain my wife in full view of all of those people?
What were you doing out in the boat?
I was trying to show Claire where I thought we should put some small cabins along the shore, trying to convince her that it would pay off. The outboard had just stalled on me.
What about the oar?
Have you ever tried to take the end of a heavy oar and pass it to someone in the water? You hold it out, and it falls in. I swung that oar over my head in hopes that it would fall within her reach.
And the oar didn't hit her?
It fell short by at least a foot.
Lon says you didn't know your wife very long before you married her.
9 weeks to be exact. I used to go up to Vegas a lot to try to relax, forget about the lodge business. We met up there, and one thing led to another, and... Mr. Jones, I didn't know I was marrying an alcoholic. You wouldn't believe the change in that girl.
Well, looks to me like your case depends on finding a couple of favorable witnesses. I'll inquire around. People have had a chance to sleep on what they saw.
Then you'll take the case?
From what I know up to this point, it would take a man with an uncontrollable temper to do what they say they saw you do. Not to mention a very stupid one, and that doesn't describe you. Well, times change. For the better. That's a pretty low rate of recovery.
Yeah, well, in my experience, we've had about, a dozen drownings. Recovered just about half of them. It's the currents. And over in the center of the lake, the bottom slopes down to subterranean levels. Scuba diver almost got swept under a ledge down there one time. We gave up using divers.
I can see why this lodge isn't all that popular.
Yeah, fewer people come up here each year. I know Mr. Atkins bought it cheap, but folks don't figure him to turn it around.
The bodies that you recover, where do you generally find them?
Well, after a couple of days, some of them show up over in Funeral Creek. Folks took to calling it that. It's a neck of water horseshoes itself around back of those trees.
Right about here is where she went down, isn't it?
Yeah, we should be just about over it.
The cottage over there, does that belong to the lodge?
Large property runs about a quarter mile past it.
A cedar waxwing.
Well, I'm very flattered.
That's a very good likeness. I'm Barnaby Jones. We almost met over some postcards this morning in the lobby.
I did think you'd come to visit me a little sooner, Mr. Jones.
Well, I wanted to talk to the guests who had made depositions first. See whether they're still as positive after a night's sleep.
And were they?
I'm afraid so. Now, I see you're an ornithologist, Miss Renford.
Oh, no, just a casual interest in birds.
I'm a sort of an amateur one, by accident, to outwit Miss Wilhelm.
Miss Wilhelm?
My 7th grade teacher. She was an absolute bird nut. I used to collect demerits like you just couldn't imagine, so I tried to get on the good side of her. I signed up for bird studies in my hobby class.
How very clever of you.
Well, to make a long story short, I had to help her catalog the entire library file of birds from Aberdivine to zebra finch.
Mr. Jones, I don't think when you decided to come and visit me, you wanted to discuss birds.
Well, let's just say that I was curious about where you were about the time of the boating mishap.
I was right here. I was photographing a flock of wild geese that were flying over at the time. I wasn't aware there was anything going on in the cove until I heard Mr. Atkins calling for Claire. And then I saw him clinging to the side of the boat.
Hey, that is a beautiful piece of equipment. You mind if I look at it?
Oh, go right ahead.
Telescopic lens. Very handy. So, you caught some wild geese flying over, huh?
Yes, I hope they're in focus.
Why didn't you hear Clara when she screamed for help?
What?
You said that you heard Gil Atkins calling her name. There'd been quite an argument before that, loud enough to be heard all the way over to the lodge. You're 50 yards away from where the boat was. It seemed to me that your attention would have been attracted to the boat from the very beginning.
I heard voices naturally, but I didn't pay them any attention.
That's funny, Miss Renford. I took you for a person who had a very curious nature.
I was busy photographing the geese, concentrating on them.
Scream, struggle, according to the guests, and here you are with a front row seat.
She was a worthless tramp. Drunken shrew he married. Do you think I'd give one iota of evidence against Gil? Whatever happened, she drove him to it.
You saw it all, didn't you, Miss Renford?
You're not going to drag anything out of me in court. Gil deserves all the help he can get.
You're under a misconception, Miss Renford. I'm a private investigator employed to help Gil Atkins.
Oh. Well, I'm not even sure what I saw. I'm not even sure it was in focus.
You triggered the camera?
Yes, I wanted to get a shot of that tramp taking a pratfall.
You filmed the whole thing?
I'm positive it was all an accident. But I'm not adding to any evidence against Gil by giving anyone that film.
You're positive it was an accident. Gil Atkins is swearing it was an accident. Doesn't it occur to you, Miss Renford, that something you have on this film might prove it was an accident?
He couldn't have killed her knowing all those people were watching. It just doesn't make any sense.
Now there, Miss Renford, I couldn't agree with you more. Not making sense.
Do you think I'd testify to something I didn't see?
Mrs. Handley, your testimony is not being disputed. It's simply that your answer sounded like conjecture.
Nothing conjecture about telling exactly what I saw with my own 2 eyes, is there?
What's delaying your daughter-in-law?
Well, she'll be here. If she were going to be too late, she'd have called me.
I'll rephrase, Mrs. Handley. Is there any question in your mind that the distance to the boat and the fading light distorted what you were seeing?
Frankly, I wish there were some question. It isn't easy to be accusing someone of murder.
Madam, we are not accusing here. We are examining the circumstances surrounding the death of one Claire Atkins without prejudice. This is a hearing, nothing more.
Thank you, Mrs. Handley. Mr. Lon Stevens.
It only looked that way.
All we wish is a direct reply. Did you see Mrs. Claire Atkins being pushed or hurled from the boat?
It looked that way. It wasn't.
Mr. Stevens, either you saw such an act or you didn't.
I couldn't have, and nobody else could have. It only looked that way.
Did you see that oar strike Mrs. Atkins over the head?
Now listen.
Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
They sure shut him up in a hurry.
He's not telling him anything, except he's your friend.
I'd like to call on Mr. Benjamin Reich.
There's no doubt in my mind she was thrown from the boat. And the oar was picked up and swung at her head.
Did you see that oar strike her head?
Yes.
Did you see Mrs. Atkins then disappear beneath the water?
I did.
Thank you, Mr. Reich. Now, Your Honor, I'd like to call Mrs. Ryan.
I got it.
Your Honor, before any more witnesses are called, I'd like to call to the stand Mr. Barnaby Jones, who wishes to place into evidence some movie film.
What kind of film?
Pictures of the boating mishap, Your Honor, filmed in its entirety.
Why, how
You know
could
they
that
would
be?
do it?
They couldn't possibly have taken a film. Didn't touch her.
I think we can open the blinds now.
Mr. Atkins, you're looking at a damn fool.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Sorry,
That's
really.
all right, Mrs. Ryan.
You've made a lot of people very happy, Barnaby. Congratulations.
I think congratulations might be due Mr. Atkins. Right over there. may be the cleverest man I ever met.
Well, thank you,
How
Mrs.
are
Ryan.
you?
Thank you. Don't think a thing about it.
No, you're
I
being
don't know
very
what-
nice about it. I don't think I'll ever trust my eyes
I know.
either.
We did it! We did it!
Oh, I can breathe. I haven't taken a deep breath in months.
Hey, you know,
What?
I like Claire's looks a lot better.
Oh, you do? Oh, feels better. I've got an idea.
Well, if you ain't the most low-down husband I ever did see, treating a woman like a piece of dirt, ain't that the truth?
Got away clean. Nobody hurt. And $250,000 on its way. $250,000?
That's a figure.
I don't believe it.
I went over this in detail with Steve Kelton of Solar Insurance, and that's what you got coming.
Well, I remember an item in the escrow papers about the lodge insurance remaining in effect, but I never gave much thought to the policy being anything more than the usual fire and theft and sufficient liability.
The former owners had a lot of other business interests beside the lodge. They had a partnership clause in the policy which protected them in the event of loss of services.
Kind of an ugly thought that I'll profit by Claire's death.
Clara became your partner not only in marriage, but in fact when you added her name to the lodge title, a jointly owned venture in the eyes of the law.
That's right, I remember. At her insistence, everything I had, bank accounts, so on, became jointly owned. Poor Claire, she was such an insecure person.
I just thought I'd pass this information along to you, Mr. Atkins.
Well, I appreciate that. Incidentally, how'd you come by this information? Making inquiries?
I make a lot of routine inquiries when I'm on a case.
Of course. I'm still stunned. Mr. Jones, I know you're checking out today, and I know that Lon hired you, but I want you to send me the bill.
All right. I'm planning on doing a little fishing before we leave.
Fishing? For what?
Anything I can catch, Mr. Atkins? You notice anything?
Not exactly an authority on wild geese.
I'm not talking about the geese. I mean the way the picture jiggles a little.
I don't know that my hand would be any steadier trying to follow a gaggle of geese.
Now watch. Notice something strange now?
I don't think so.
You're aiming your camera up at some geese. You hear a noise in the cove. You point your camera down there. Why no jiggle? Don't look at the people. Look at the end of the boat and the edge of the picture. Taken at 50 yards with a telescopic lens handheld by Miss Renford, and it doesn't vary a hair. This camera was locked in position when she took these pictures.
Oh, she wouldn't have had enough time if she saw Claire was going to fall and wanted to get a picture of it.
If I were to ask Miss Renford, which I don't intend to, she'd say she used a tripod, which she forgot to mention.
Well, what do we do now?
Now we go fishing.
Gil, here's another letter asking a company discount. Maybe you should change your mind about turning down discount business.
Why is Jones using boat number 7?
That's the one he said he wanted.
If he talks about staying over, you tell him that we have everything under reservation from tonight on. Understand?
Gil? After Mr. Jones helping you, you don't want him around?
It's not that, Lon. It's just that I don't want to be reminded of Claire's accident.
I'm not too far away.
Let me see the fish, Dad. One more.
Dad's the biggest fishing bug in the world.
Terrific! I got it.
Well, we've got to get packing. Well, I hope the weather holds for you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lon, got a question to ask you. I know you think a lot of Gil.
Oh, we've been through NAM together, Mr. Jones. I don't think I could have made it without Gil. I wasn't that much of a soldier.
You socialize a lot working for him?
Sure. I mean, drinking the lounge nights, talk over old times.
You must know his wife pretty well.
Claire? She wouldn't talk to me from the first day she got here. She just turned away like she hated me.
That's strange.
Oh, no, sir. She treated everybody the same.
Your guest, Miss Renford, did Gil know her before she came up here?
Why, sure he didn't. Speaking of Miss Renford, better be hunting up a new TV jack for her. Nice seeing you again, Betty.
Nice seeing you, Ron.
Visit us again, Mr. Jones. Fall's best time for fishing.
I may see you before then. Like trying to grab a hold of a greased pig. You think you got him, and you got a handful of air.
Well, maybe I should pack up and leave tonight.
Oh, no. That's not necessary. We don't want to hurry anything. You talk to the guests, chat with them, say your goodbyes.
How long do you think we'll have to wait?
Shouldn't be more than a week. In the meantime, I'll put the lodge on the market. We'll get what we can get. You stay in Palm Springs.
All right.
What are you doing here?
I promised I'd fix her television set. You're her.
All of a sudden, he's Mr. Efficiency.
It was just a trick.
That's right. Just a trick. Nobody got hurt. And the insurance company can afford it. When I get the check, there's something in it for you.
That's what it was, the insurance?
Sure, that's all. $10,000 for you. Take off, live it up. You're not even involved. You don't know anything about it. You never did. And we'll call the $10,000 a loan from me to you that you never have to pay back. Hey, Lon, wait a minute.
You know me better than anybody, Gil. Do you think I'd ever cheat or steal?
It's all right. I'll talk to him. Hey, Lon! Lon, wait a minute! Lon, please! Lon, listen. Listen to me. I'm in this thing deep, and you're flushing me down the drain.
Gil, I'm all mixed up.
I'll say you're mixed up. You were pretty mixed up in the Kong Delta, too.
I know I owe you, Gil.
Owe me? I wiped your nose for 2 years. They took half a mortar shell out of my hide when I pulled you out of that mud hole.
I know, Gil, I know. See, I can't go along with you anymore.
What do you mean?
I gotta think, Gil.
Think? You never had anything to think with.
Maybe. Maybe you're right. But I know enough to stop when it comes to me doing something bad. I can't look the other way anymore, Gil. It's not like Saigon, when you were taking supplies out the back door and selling them to the black marketeers.
You don't know what you're talking about.
You couldn't make it honest. You never could do anything honest. Always spoiling things with your cheap tricks. That's you, Gil. Cheap. Lousy cheap.
Lon? 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 Lon?
Instead of another cup of coffee, what you need is a good night's sleep.
Betty. Last cup of coffee made just done.
What? Tell me. Give me a...
Look at the length of the shadow of that oar. It's just about the same size of the oar. Well, the length of the shadow of this fishing rod, it's barely half the length of the rod itself.
I'm sorry, Barnaby, I don't get it.
You took these pictures of me about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Same time, same place, boat angle the same. Everything is the same except the shadows are shorter. I was right. That film was staged. We must have done it in the early spring when the lodge was closed and the lake was still deserted. They used the same boat, same engine. They even repainted the boat. Everything was the same. The only thing they couldn't control was the seasons. Roses Fade and Shadows Shift by Ebenezer Elliott.
What teacher was that?
Good old Miss Wilhelm. So now we know. And that little old statement I made at the hearing about optical illusion still stands. All those guests at the lodge who thought they were seeing Claire, what were they actually seeing? They said she was unsocial, that she drank and slept the day away, but they heard her. They heard her arguing with Sharon Renford in that cottage. Everybody heard Claire, but even Lon says he never knew her because she always avoided him.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that Sharon and Claire are the same person? Oh. Well, then, if that's so, why didn't they make it look like an accident from the very beginning instead of a murder?
Because a heavily insured Claire disappearing into the lake would have smelled like fraud. It had been long investigations, and the coroner might not even have certified death. No, our Mr. Atkins took the bold approach. He had eyewitnesses to an apparent murder, so he forced that hearing judge to examine the probable cause of death, never the question of death.
And so Claire, or Sharon, swam underwater to the shore, getting back to the cottage through the brush and the trees.
That's right. Hello, Steve Kelton, please. And you can bet that if I hadn't happened onto that stage film, they would have found a way to have some deputy sheriff just happen on it. Hello, Steve. Barnaby Jones. How would you like to save $250,000 on that Atkin policy? That's right. Hold up payment.
Hi.
How did it all go with Lon?
With Lon? Well, he was happy enough to leave last night. Why shouldn't he be? He's getting $25,000.
Is there something else wrong?
I heard from the insurance company. They're investigating further into Claire's background.
Well, let them investigate. She has no background. She has no family. She has nothing. She appeared from thin air, and she's going to disappear into the same thin air.
But that guy from the company said a very interesting thing. If they don't recover a body from that lake out there, they're not going to pay off for 7 years.
For 7 years? But what about all those people that saw Claire drowned?
Yeah. Sudden change in their attitude. Almost overnight. Maybe something we overlooked. Or something Jones saw.
Gil, look, if this thing's going to start falling apart around us, maybe we ought to, drop it. Back out. It's not that important, really, is it? It's not as if we're losing anything we ever had.
Hey, you know the clothes that you wore as Claire? Where are they?
They're out back where you told me to bury them.
I think we should get rid of them. Why don't you go get them?
All right. You know, Gil, no one would ever find them. The rock covered them perfectly.
I said go get them.
Why, Gil? Lon knows. If what you're thinking is for them to find Claire's body in the lake. Lon knows.
Yeah, the secret's buried with him.
Yes, ma'am. We have your reservation right here. Just let us know when you'll be arriving. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Is Lon Stevens around?
No, sir. He's no longer with us.
Could you tell me where I can find him?
He left sometime last night for another job. You'd have to ask Mr. Atkins for any details.
Where is Mr. Atkins?
I believe he's driving one of our guests into the city.
Would that guest be Miss Sharon Renford?
Yes, sir.
How long ago did they leave?
Oh, I'd say about 30 minutes, sir.
Never mind casting off. I'm betting she's still alive. You're going to need water in her lungs. Well, now, that is something I didn't figure, you were having a gun. But I guess it just proves that you never were quite sure yourself right from the beginning. It's all over, Mr. Atkins. A man as smart as you has got to know that once you start swinging wild, everything goes downhill.
What did you tell the insurance company?
Among other things, to what's your next move? You do move fast, Mr. Atkins.
Why aren't the sheriff's men here?
As a professional, I have got to admire the way you put everything together, especially the play acting by Miss Renford here. She's quite a gal. And the way you use remote control on the camera. No third party, cuts down expenses.
You didn't call the sheriff, did you? You weren't that sure of yourself.
Don't you even want to know where you slipped up? Just a plain little boat oar, part of it.
I can't. Help! I can't.
Well, what do you know? There's one thing you didn't have to fake.
Help!
He killed Lon, you know.
That's what I figured when I called the police. They've got dogs out around the lodge now.
Nobody was supposed to get hurt.
It generally starts out that way.
I'm a doctor. I want to help you. Can you tell me your name?
Leave me alone! Stay away from me!
Peter.
My.
It's such a beautiful car.
Were you surprised?
I just came outside and there it was. I thought it belonged to somebody else until I read your note.
Oh, really?
I really don't need all those things. You are going to spoil me.
Well, I'm going to do my best anyway. Why not? You're the most important thing in my whole life. Your partners are waiting.
How about joining us?
No, not right now. I've got a little work to do.
I'll see you later.
All right.
Roy wouldn't do it. I know.
How do you know, Miss Phillips?
Because he just wasn't the type to kill himself. He was never depressed.
Well, now that's hard to say. You see people who go along apparently on top, and then one day they put a gun to their heads.
But not Roy. He was up, and lately he was really up. He was so excited.
Do you know why?
Something about a new job.
What kind of a job?
I'm not sure exactly.
What kind of work did Roy do?
Roy did everything. You name it. He was a handyman, a gardener, groundskeeper, a carpenter. But most of all, he was a clown.
Clown? You mean a clown? As in funny?
As in clown. He'd go to kids' parties and supermarket openings, hospital. But most of all, Roy liked to make people laugh.
I think that's great. To be a clown. Grimaldi, Pagliacci, all the great clowns with their baggy clothes and bouquets of carrots.
That was Roy.
And their painted-on smiles hiding all the sadness underneath.
Roy was not sad. And he didn't kill himself.
You're pretty sure of this, aren't you?
Yes. You've got to help me prove it.
You go to the police for this?
Well, I feel kind of silly going to the police.
Where did Roy live?
Next to me in the canyon. I could show you.
Let's go.
This is nice. It's really very nice.
It's almost a shame Roy's not here to see it.
Almost, but not quite, huh, Frank?
The pie is always a little bit tastier when the pieces are bigger. Besides, like you said, it was an accident. He lost his balance.
That's right.
How much you think we're going to get?
Well, it's impossible to say.
You said that new shipment alone was worth more than $1.5 million.
On the open market, not to a fence. Don't worry, I'll see we get a good price.
We'll make it soon. I don't like hanging around here any longer than I have to.
Well, if you care to, I can always have your share forwarded to you.
It's all right. I'll wait.
Danny?
Yes.
Peter Harris.
Oh, Peter. It's always a pleasure to hear your voice.
I'll have that money for you in a day or two.
Oh? Is that a day or two?
Two.
Got it. I'm marking that down.
Don't put me on now, Danny. This time it's for sure.
Oh, you got a sure thing, huh, Peter? You know, gamblers pick up such interesting phrases. Now, you've got a sure thing. Big odds?
I'm not gambling for this money.
I certainly hope not. Now, I marked down the number 2 in my appointment book, Peter. Let's see, that would be Thursday. Now, if you don't show up on Thursday, on Friday, I'm going to have to...
You'll have it on Thursday.
Relax. There's always a first time for everything. Our mutual friend did say it was your first time, didn't he? It doesn't matter. Amateur or pro, I predict a real future for you. $425,000.
They're worth almost $2 million.
Not to me.
Then there's no deal.
Maybe I missed something. Ah, yes, a simple oversight. I think I can go 450.
5.
Why quibble?
I'll have to have cash.
You didn't expect me to give you a personal check, did you? I'll have to have a day or so to get the money. I was right about you. You have a future.
You would have liked him, Mr. Jones. He loved to make people laugh. Kid made him this.
I just can't get it out of my mind that clowns are traditionally melancholy.
You still don't believe me, do you?
I believe you were in love. Is he?
Yes.
You didn't tell me that he had actually been with a circus.
He never mentioned it to me.
I wonder what else he didn't mention.
Oh, up here. Yeah, I'll be down in a minute. There's a delivery truck over at my house. I'll be right back. The delivery man said he ordered these 3 days ago to be delivered today.
Sorry I had to run off on business. Be back tonight. Now we can get married. I love you, Roy.
Does that sound like a man who could commit suicide?
No. No, it surely doesn't. But what was he doing out there on that ledge? need for an autopsy?
No. Death by massive concussion.
Funny about that right kneecap.
Well, there were a lot of broken bones.
Yeah, in the upper part of the body, but the upper part of the body is the heavy part of the body dictates the fall. Roy Hazen landed head first, right?
Right.
And how did he get a smashed right kneecap?
Maybe it got twisted under him somehow.
Does that satisfy you? Doesn't satisfy me. Thanks, Jim.
Barnaby, what are you driving at?
I don't know yet. Could you hold that, please?
Hold that, Harry.
Sorry I'm late. I talked to Sergeant Danvers. Roy Hazen did have a police record. And nothing much. About 8 years ago, he was tried and convicted on a bunco charge in Lima, Ohio.
That must have been when he was with the circus. Well, at least now we know he had a little larceny in his heart. Okay, roll it down.
Roll it. Coming up is that other angle I told you about, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, that's the one. You notice the way he checks his watch? Wonder why he did that. In some earlier footage, his right knee seemed to give way.
Lost his balance?
Who took his film?
Paul Franklin.
From where?
The 8th floor Whitman building.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
We're all through, Harry. Thanks.
Pigeon watching, Barnaby?
Hello, Lieutenant. Yeah, saw him carry messages.
Well, that's how you get your information.
You here on the Van Huff robbery?
I got one more tenant on this floor to question, a lawyer.
What are your thoughts on the connection between the leaper and the robbery?
Well, we were working on that theory, but we can't tie them together.
Seems neat. Leaper attracts the crowds, ties up traffic. The squad cars can't get through.
I know.
Coincidence?
So far, unless we can prove otherwise.
I don't believe in coincidences.
Mr. Harris?
Yes?
I'm Lieutenant Hager.
Oh, yes, Lieutenant. My secretary told me you'd stop by. I'm sorry I've been so busy. As a matter of fact, I'm on my way right now to...
Just one question or two. I have to check everyone on this floor who was here during the time of the burglary. It's just routine.
I see.
Now, your secretary said that you were in your office from 2 to 5:30 on the afternoon of the burglary?
Yes, that's right.
Did you step out into the corridor at all during that time?
No, I don't think so.
Well, that's your office back there in the corner. You had a better view of the leaper than I did from where I was standing.
Barnaby Jones, Peter Harris.
How do you do? Well, that's quite possible, Mr. Jones, but I'm not sure where you were standing.
Well, did you see him when he first came out on the ledge?
No, I didn't.
Say, do you mind if I come up to your office sometime and take a look with these?
No, not at all, not at all.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, gentlemen.
Got time for a cup of coffee, Barnaby?
No, thanks. Got to see a lady about a circus.
Hey! Barnaby! Oh, Barnaby! It's so good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you, but it's getting more difficult to see you.
Yeah! Gee, ain't this great? Lost 237 pounds.
Lost 200.
No, you won't find them around here. Same old Barnaby.
Imagine, I've known you since you were that big around.
Well, they say in every fat person there's a skinny one screaming to get out. I screamed, and here I am.
That's great, Flo.
Oh, I don't know that it is. I miss the circus. Always will.
It went out of style.
Along with the fat lady. Oh, I'm married now. There's Jack Spratt. He's my Weight Watcher.
Flo. You know him?
Oh, sure, that's Roy. Roy Hazen, the clown. Gee, he was great.
Funny, huh?
Oh, more than that. He went high.
Aerialist?
More money in it.
A guy like that wouldn't have been afraid of heights.
What's not? It's where he lives. Roy all right?
Roy's dead.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry to hear that. What happened?
Fell.
Poor clown.
Flo, where would a guy like that go to keep in shape?
To a gym, I'd imagine.
Any particular one?
Mike's in Santa Monica. A lot of the refugees from the circus work out there.
Thanks, Flo. And don't lose any more weight. I may not be able to find you again.
Barnaby! Heads up!
Honey, don't give me that.
I'm sorry, sir.
Look, first you put me on hold, then you tell me he's not in.
Mr. Harris was in earlier, then he left.
And I just keep missing him, huh?
That's right, sir.
Where'd he go?
I don't know, sir.
I told you, I don't like that smooth talking.
Take it easy, Ed.
He's crossed us.
It takes time to fence that stuff.
He's had time. 10 to 1 he's in Mexico right now, living it up big on our money.
Trouble just getting out of bed in the morning.
Hey, you know, Roy Hazen, he could do all that stuff. Acrobats, aerialists, funambulists.
Funambulist?
Yeah, a rope walker. Used to string a slack rope from the ceiling, work up high on it. Last couple of weeks, as a matter of fact.
Did you ever get any jobs rope walking?
Oh, yeah, that's why he started working up high again. He had a job with a sportsman show, dancing on a high slack rope.
Well, thanks for the information, Mike.
Oh, say, I don't know, this might be something. There was this guy came in here right after the sportsman show closed. And he called Roy over and they talked. And that's the last time he worked out here. Last time I saw him.
Would you recognize the man?
Oh, I don't know. They were over by the door.
Was he thin, fat, short, tall, young, old?
Oh, about 6 feet, early 40s maybe. Good-looking guy. Not a guy that works out. You know, he was an office type, had a briefcase.
Thanks.
Yes. It's all there. Don't worry.
Well, each time you're a little later, Peter. But we don't worry.
At 200% interest, I don't know why you should.
That's strictly business.
Maybe I should contact Gamblers Anonymous.
Oh, don't. Try instead our champagne flight to Las Vegas. There's a free bus trip to Lake Mead.
No, thank you.
You don't have to gamble, Peter. Take along your tackle. You can fish Lake Mead.
Oh, it all happened so fast that it seems like a dream now. No, it's more like a nightmare.
Yeah, I know. I read the police report. Can you add any more to the description of the two men?
Oh, not with those masks they were wearing. Mm-mm.
They're both under 6 feet, though.
Yeah. Oh, and I think they were in their 20s. I could tell from the way they moved and talked.
Miss Temple, I understand that you received a big shipment of stones from Holland the morning of the robbery.
Yeah, that's right.
Who knew about that ship?
I guess everybody who works at Van Hoff. Oh, Mr. Jones, if you're thinking that this was, what is it that the police use that word?
An inside job.
An inside job. You're wrong.
Well, now tell me, supposing that two people were talking about the shipment the way we are now, and somebody else overheard the conversation.
Oh, Mr. Jones, I think I can vouch for the discretion of everyone in this office.
What about outsiders?
Outsiders?
Yeah, maybe somebody that works in your accounting firm, does your books.
The accounting firm consists of Mr. Keller, who's been here for over 25 years.
What about cleaning people at night?
Oh, the files are all locked before we leave. They'd have no way of finding out anything.
Lawyer? Retained by the firm?
Oh, well, you're welcome to talk to him if you want to. It's right down the hall.
What's his name?
Peter Harris.
Peter Harris?
Is there something wrong, Mr. Jones?
No. Something's right. Thank you. I would never have believed Los Angeles would go high-rise on account of the earthquake. Beginning to look like New York City down here. I liked it better the other way.
Adobe.
I'm not quite that old. Mr. Harris. Took you up on your offer.
Come in, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Say, you really had a grandstand seat, didn't you? Did you notice the way the leaper checked his watch?
No.
He checked it, and then he moved down to the corner of the building. I thought that was odd. Say, that is a beautiful case.
Yeah, thank you.
I've never seen one like this before.
Yes, I had it made.
Unusual lining.
Yes, I'm very fond of Paisley.
Did you notice the way his knee buckled just before he jumped?
No, I didn't.
It did. I checked it on the TV coverage. Did you know he was a circus performer?
No, actually, I never followed the story.
Funambulist. How do you like that word? Rope walker. A man like that has absolutely no fear of heights.
Look, Mr. Jones, if you've come up here to think out loud, I'm really quite busy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Window opens, isn't it? You could have called over to the leaper, given him some legal advice. I'm going. Thanks for the view.
You sound happy. What happened?
Everything's starting to make sense. Have you heard from little Eddie?
Well, when a call goes out for the best informant in the business, it doesn't take little Eddie long to answer. He's inside.
Eddie! Hey, Barnaby. Thought you was out in the boondocks, raising turnips.
Sometimes I am, but it's not turnips. It's rutabagas, Eddie. Rutabagas.
Oh, sorry. They're all roots to me.
What'd you find out about Peter Harris?
Best lawyer in town.
More than that.
He likes Vegas a lot.
That's what I mean. More like that.
I thought so. Got a juicy one for you. Harris dropped $50,000 in Vegas 5 months ago. Had to go and hawk to a so-called loan company to pay his markers.
How does he stand with a loan company?
Paid up.
When?
Yesterday.
Interest too?
Right. All the juice. 200%.
150,000.
Nice business, huh?
Beats raising rutabagas. Thanks, Eddie.
Always wanted to do business with a gentleman farmer. Call me any time, Barnaby.
home early.
Yes, I wanted to give myself time to pack.
Pack for what?
Oh, didn't I tell you?
No.
We're leaving for Hawaii tomorrow morning.
What's the occasion?
Well, I didn't think we needed one, but if it'll make you any happier. Hey. What's wrong?
Oh, I don't know. It's just first the car, now the trip.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Peter, I'm not a child. You don't have to buy me things.
Oh, baby. I'll remember that, I promise you. After we come back from Hawaii.
I'll pack.
Sorry to bother you again, Mr. Harris. Your wife let me in. She is an attractive woman.
Thank you.
Say, I like this place. Better than your downtown office. What a magnificent trophy. Bighorn sheep. Vanishing species.
Yes, but I shot it years ago, Mr. Jones.
Oh, yeah, when shooting was still in style.
Who are you working for, Mr. Jones? The police?
No, I have my own business. Private investigation.
Oh, I see. You're investigating the robbery for the insurance company.
No, I'm investigating a coincidence. Jewel robbery occurred just about the time Roy Hazen fell to his death.
Well, I'm a lawyer, Mr. Jones, and I deal in facts, not coincidences.
That's funny. I know some lawyers who made a fortune turning facts into coincidences.
I'm not that kind of a lawyer.
And you don't like coincidences either.
I believe that the jewel thieves were probably waiting for just such an opportunity. Well, anything. That leaper, when he appeared, well, they simply seized upon him.
Then you don't see any connection between the leaper and the thieves?
Well, I don't see how, Mr. Jones, since the leaper is dead.
That's true. Interesting rifle. Telescopic sight. Takedown. Neat. .22 long rifle. Steel jacket. Isn't that kind of unusual for game? Makes a small hole, goes right through. You have to get a head or heart shot. You must be quite a marksman.
I used to be. I wonder if you'd excuse me now, Mr. Jones. I have some work to do.
Of course. Good day, Mr. Harris.
Good day, Mr. Jones.
didn't take long.
Well, your husband's a busy man. I didn't want to take up too much of his time.
I guess he has a lot of things to do before we leave.
Going on a trip?
Why? Going there without swim fins and mask is like going to Palm Springs without a tennis racket.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Miss Harris, you know a man named Roy Hazen?
Roy Hazen. No. Why?
I thought he was a friend of your husband.
I don't think so.
I guess I was mistaken. Aloha.
Candyman.
You're late.
Better late than never.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Like what?
Like most of the stuff was too easily traced. The fence wouldn't touch it.
I knew you were going to pull something.
I'm not pulling anything. I've got 100,000 here. 50 for you and 50 for me.
We don't like it.
Well, you can take it or leave it.
Just answer your questions. Now we're going to go to your place and we're going to take all of it.
Thanks, Jim. I'll have this fabric back in the morning.
There's no hurry. Say, I'm sorry the lab didn't have a better report for you, but his knee, the cap and all, was shattered. There was really no way to tell.
This may do it. It's a sidewalk concrete, and that's all.
What did you hope to find?
Traces of steel. The way I figure, Roy Hazen was shot through the knee with a steel jacket bullet. Smashed a kneecap and went on through, and I was trying to prove it.
Barnaby, according to the paper, that jewel robbery's been solved.
What?
It's a late edition, just arrived. It's a falling out among thieves. Says that two men must have gotten into an argument and shot each other.
3 pieces of the Van Hoff heist were found in the apartment. Police theorized the rest of the jewelry had already been fenced.
And that clears Peter Harris of the robbery. Pretty neat.
Very neat. Got to be something.
Where are you going?
To be a funambulist.
What did you find, Barnaby?
Evidence of pigeon. You got your case all wrapped up, Lieutenant?
Well, if I did, I wouldn't be retracing my steps to see if I've overlooked anything. Well, I'm afraid all I've got so far is a bunch of loose ends. Or maybe I should say loose threads.
What do you mean?
These were caught on one of the earrings in Frank Tilden's apartment, part of the Van Hoff loop.
Pretty color. What'd your lab say about these?
Some kind of Italian silk.
May I keep these for about an hour?
Of course.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
Yes.
Mr. Jones, to see you.
Tell him I'm busy. No, no, wait a minute. Ask him to come in. Well, Jones, you find that coincidence you've been after?
I like this view.
Yeah. I just saw you out there on the ledge. Find anything?
Yes, I did. And I can't help but admire this case of yours again. It is a beauty. Such fine silk.
You know, Jones, I just don't understand you. I mean, this robbery has been solved.
So the papers say.
And the jumper, the leaper, was a suicide.
Yes, but I don't believe all that.
What do you believe?
That it wasn't a coincidence. That you were the coincidence.
Wait, Jones. That's ridiculous.
I don't think so. Identical. I've got him. Betty, I've got him. Call Lieutenant Hager. Tell him to send a squad car to 806 Stone Drive in Bel Air.
Why? What's wrong? Why are we leaving now instead of in the morning?
Let's go inside and check that we've got everything.
Peter.
Do it! We're in a hurry, Jones. What do you want?
The police found these threads in Frank Tilden's apartment. They were caught on the back of some jewelry.
So? Why tell me?
Because it's curious. About an hour ago, I plucked some threads out of the lining of that custom-built briefcase of yours, and they match. Way I figure it, you held out 3 pieces of jewelry. You took them to Tilden's apartment. Then after you killed your 2 partners, you planted the jewelry so it would look like they killed each other fighting over the loot. Looks like I figured right.
Get up against the car.
I'm usually not much of a betting man, Harris, but I'll lay odds you never make it to that airplane this evening.
You'll never know one way or another, Jones. Get in the car.
I guess you were smart not to take that bet after all.
I just knew it. And I have you to thank for proving that. But why do you think he got mixed up in a robbery? Well, why do you think he did it?
Maybe he was looking for a shortcut to heaven. You?
Me?
And the way he figured, that took big money.
But I thought I had shown him that we didn't need much.
When a man loves you, truly loves you, that's sometimes a hard message to get across.
Chapter 1. The Canvas of Dreams. The evening air of Los Angeles had begun to cool, casting long, purple shadows across the bustling intersection of 5th and Main. High above the traffic, the sky transitioned into a deep, velvet blue, signaling the arrival of the night. It was a beautiful evening, the kind that made the city of angels look like a vast, glittering promise. Below, the streetlights flickered to life, and the steady hum of the evening rush hour filled the canyon of concrete and glass. In front of a modest apartment building on the outskirts of the city, a pristine, white sedan sat parked against the curb. Its polished chrome caught the last rays of the setting sun, gleaming like a freshly minted coin. A young woman named Brooke stepped out of the building's main lobby, her eyes catching the reflection of the vehicle. She stopped in her tracks, her hand rising to her lips in disbelief. Standing by the driver's side, a handsome man named Peter watched her reaction with a quiet, confident smile. He had been waiting for this moment all afternoon, and the joy on her face was exactly what he had hoped to see. "Is this a dream, Peter?" Brooke asked, her voice carrying a mixture of wonder and hesitation as she walked slowly toward the car. "It is such a beautiful automobile." "Are you surprised?" Peter replied, stepping forward to meet her. He reached out and took her hand, his expression warm and affectionate. "I just came outside and there it was," she said, looking down at the small, elegant note she held in her hand. "I thought it belonged to somebody else until I read your note." "Oh, really?" Peter laughed softly, his eyes shining with devotion. "You really do not need to buy me all of these things," Brooke continued, a gentle note of concern in her voice. "You're going to spoil me." "Well, I am going to do my best anyway," Peter said, wrapping his arm around her shoulders as they both admired the vehicle. "Why not? You are the most important thing in my whole life." Their moment of quiet celebration was interrupted by the sound of footsteps approaching from the driveway. A business associate, dressed in a sharp, dark suit, nodded politely to Brooke before turning his attention to Peter. "Your partners are waiting," the man said, his tone professional yet urgent. "How about joining us?" "No, not right now," Peter replied, offering a reassuring smile to Brooke before looking back at his associate. "I've got a little work to do. I will see you later." Brooke watched him as he walked back toward the building, a lingering sense of unease quieted by the sheer warmth of his affection. To her, Peter was a man of ambition, a lawyer who worked tirelessly to provide a life of comfort and security. But in the quiet corners of the city, other stories were unfolding, stories that carried a different kind of weight. Chapter 2. The Spirit of a Clown. Across town, in the quiet, wood-paneled office of a private investigator, a different kind of conversation was taking place. Barnaby Jones sat behind his desk, his spectacles resting on the bridge of his nose as he listened intently to the young woman sitting opposite him. Her name was Miss Phillips, and her eyes were filled with a fierce, protective determination that defied the grief hanging over her. Roy Hazen would not do it, Miss Phillips said, her voice steady but thick with emotion. I know he did not. How do you know, Miss Phillips? Barnaby asked gently, leaning forward and resting his hands on his desk. He was a veteran investigator, a man who had seen enough of the human condition to know that appearances could be deceiving, yet he always maintained a deep, abiding respect for the truth. Because he just was not the type to kill himself, she replied, shaking her head. He was never depressed. Well, now, that is hard to say, Barnaby observed, his tone rich with empathy. You see, people who go along, apparently on top, and then one day they decide to put a gun to their head. It is a sad reality of this business. But not Roy, she insisted, leaning forward. He was up, and lately he was really up. He was so excited. Do you know why? Barnaby asked, his interest piqued by her conviction. Something about a new job, she explained, her fingers tracing the edge of her handbag. What kind of job? Barnaby inquired. I am not sure exactly, she admitted. What kind of work did Roy do? Barnaby asked, wanting to understand the man behind the tragedy. Roy did everything, Miss Phillips said, a nostalgic smile briefly lighting up her face. You name it, he was a handyman, a gardener, groundskeeper, a carpenter. But most of all, he was a clown. A clown, Barnaby repeated, a soft smile touching his own lips. As in funny? As in clown, she said softly. Kids' parties and supermarket openings, hospital visits. But most of all, Roy liked to make people laugh. I think that is great, Barnaby said, genuinely touched by the description. To be a clown. Grimaldi, Pagliacci, all the great clowns with their baggy clothes and bouquets of carrots. That was Roy, she agreed, her voice dropping to a whisper. And they're painted on smiles, hiding all the sadness underneath, Barnaby added, reflecting on the classic image of the melancholy performer. Roy was not sad, Miss Phillips defended firmly. And he did not kill himself. You have got to help me prove it. Did you go to the police for this? Barnaby asked. Well, I feel kind of silly going to the police, she admitted, looking down. They have already made up their minds. Where did Roy live? Barnaby asked, standing up from his chair. Next to me in the canyon, she replied, rising as well. I could show you. Let us go, Barnaby said, reaching for his hat. Chapter 3. High Stakes and False Balance. Meanwhile, in an upscale apartment overlooking the city, two men stood by a large window, enjoying a glass of expensive spirits. The room was decorated with modern art and plush leather furniture, the very picture of ill-gotten luxury. This is nice, the first man, Ed, said, gesturing around the room.
It is really very nice.
It is almost a shame Roy is not here to see it. Almost, but not quite, the second man, a younger associate, replied with a cynical chuckle. The pie is always a little bit tastier when the pieces are bigger. Besides, like you said, it was an accident. He lost his balance. That is right, Ed agreed, taking a sip of his drink. How much do you think we're going to get? The younger man asked, his eyes filled with greed. Well, it is impossible to say, Ed replied. You said that new shipment alone was worth more than $1.5 million, the associate reminded him. On the open market? Yes, Ed cautioned. But not to a fence. Do not worry. I will see if we get a good price. We will make it soon. I do not like hanging around here any longer than I have to. Well, if you care to, I can always have your share forwarded to you, the younger man offered, though his tone suggested otherwise. It is all right, Ed said, looking out over the city skyline. I will wait. In another part of the city, Peter Harris was stepping into his private study. The room was quiet, lit only by a single desk lamp. He sat down and picked up the telephone, dialing a number from memory. Danny, Peter said, his voice smooth and controlled. It is always a pleasure to hear your voice. I will have that money for you in a day or two. On the other end of the line, a gruff voice replied. Oh, is that a day or two?
Two. Got it.
I am marking that down. Don't put me on now, Danny. This time it is for sure. You have got a sure thing. Huh. Peter, the voice on the line asked, a hint of amusement in its tone. You know, gamblers pick up such interesting phrases. Now, you've got a sure thing. Big odds? I am not gambling for this money, Peter said coldly. I certainly hope not, Danny replied. I marked down the number 2 in my appointment book, Peter. I would say that would be Thursday. Now, if you do not show up on Thursday, on Friday, I am going to have to feel havoc. Relax, Peter said, maintaining his composure. There is always a first time for everything. Our mutual friend did say it was your first time, did he not? Danny asked. It does not matter. Amateur or pro, I predict a real future for you. Peter hung up the receiver, his mind racing. He opened a small, custom-made briefcase, staring at the glittering assortment of loose gemstones resting against the unique, purple paisley lining. The stones caught the light, sparkling with a cold, brilliant fire. The valuation was steep. $425,000, Peter murmured to himself. Worth almost $2 million. Not to me. A voice in his mind seemed to echo, reminding him of the harsh reality of dealing with a fence. If there was no deal at that price, he would have to push harder. Perhaps he had missed something, a simple oversight. He knew he could go to $450,000. Why quibble over details when the stakes were this high? He would have to have cash. No one expected a personal check in this line of work. He would have to have a day or so to get the money together. Chapter 4. The Silent Witness of the Canyon. The drive into the canyon was peaceful, the winding road surrounded by towering eucalyptus trees and wild chaparral. Barnaby Jones parked his car near a pair of rustic cabins nestled against the hillside. The air here was fresh, carrying the scent of pine and dry earth. Miss Phillips led Barnaby up a dirt path toward Roy Hazen's home. On a small wooden table near the porch sat a colorful, handmade toy, a wooden clown that tumbled down a little ladder when tapped. You would have liked him, Mr. Jones, Miss Phillips said, picking up the toy and letting it tumble. He loved to make people laugh. A kid made him this. Barnaby watched the toy spin, his expression thoughtful. I just can't get it out of my mind that clowns are traditionally melancholy, he murmured, his sharp mind analyzing every detail. You still do not believe me, do you? She asked, turning to look at him. I believe you were in love, Barnaby replied softly, his voice full of gentle understanding. Was he? Yes, she said without hesitation. Did he tell you that he had actually been with a circus? Barnaby asked, looking around the modest property. He never mentioned it to me, she admitted, her brow furrowing. I wonder what else he did not mention, Barnaby mused. Before Miss Phillips could answer, a delivery truck rumbled up the dusty driveway and came to a stop near her house. The driver hopped out, carrying a large cardboard box. Oh, up here, she called out to the driver. I will be down in a minute. There is a delivery truck over at my house, Mr. Jones. I will be right back. Barnaby watched her jog down the path to meet the delivery man. After a brief exchange, the driver handed over the package and drove away. Miss Phillips returned, carrying the box with trembling hands. Her eyes were wide, and tears were beginning to form. It is for Roy, she said, her voice shaking. The delivery man said he ordered these 3 days ago to be delivered today. She opened the box, revealing a beautiful, carefully wrapped package. Inside was a card, written in Roy's neat handwriting. Miss Phillips read it aloud, her voice cracking with emotion. Sorry I had to run off on business. Be back tonight. Now we can get married. I love you, Roy. She looked up at Barnaby, the tears finally spilling over. Does that sound like a man who could commit suicide? She asked, her voice a mixture of heartbreak and vindication. No, Barnaby said quietly, his eyes narrowing as the pieces of the puzzle began to shift. No, it surely did not. But what was he doing out there on that ledge? Chapter 5. The Architecture of a Fall. The city morgue was cold and sterile, a stark contrast to the warm canyon Barnaby had just left. He stood beside a metal examination table, talking to the medical examiner, a man who had seen too many tragic ends in his career. There was no need for an autopsy, the examiner said, looking over his clipboard. Death by massive concussion. Funny about that right kneecap, Barnaby noted, pointing to a specific detail on the chart. There were a lot of broken bones, the examiner replied, shrugging. Yeah, in the upper part of the body, Barnaby countered, his sharp intellect dissecting the physics of the incident. But the upper part of the body is the heavy part of the body that dictates the fall. Roy Hazen landed headfirst, right? Right, the examiner agreed. And how did he get a smashed right kneecap? Barnaby asked, his voice steady and questioning. Maybe it got twisted under him somehow, the examiner suggested, though his tone lacked conviction. Does that satisfy you? It does not satisfy me, Barnaby said flatly. Leaving the morgue, Barnaby met with a local news crew that had captured footage of the incident at the Whitman building. They stood in a dark viewing room, the light from the projector casting a flickering glow on their faces. Thanks, Jim, Barnaby said as the technician loaded the film reel. Barnaby, what are you driving at? His associate asked, standing nearby. I do not know yet, Barnaby admitted. Could you hold that, please? Sorry I am late, another technician, Harry, said as he hurried into the room. I talked to Sergeant Danvers. Roy Hazen did have a police record, but nothing much. About 8 years ago, he was tried and convicted on a bunco charge in Lima, Ohio. That must have been when he was with the circus, Barnaby noted. Well, at least now we know he had a little larceny in his heart. Okay, roll it down. Roll it. The projector hummed to life, displaying a high-angle shot of the Whitman building. On the screen, a figure could be seen standing on a narrow concrete ledge on the 8th floor. Coming up is that other angle I told you about, Mr. Jones, the technician said, pointing at the screen. Yeah, that is the one. Notice the way he checks his watch. I wonder why he did that, Barnaby murmured, his eyes locked on the screen. In some earlier footage, his right knee seemed to give way, the technician observed. Lost his balance, Barnaby asked. Who took this film? Paul Franklin, the technician replied. From where? The 8th floor of the Whitman building. Okay, thanks, Tom, Barnaby said, tapping his chin in deep thought. Roll through, Harry. Thanks. Chapter 6, The Intersecting Paths. A short while later, Barnaby stood in the bustling corridor of the Whitman building's 8th floor. The hallway was busy with office workers and visitors, the hum of typewriters drifting through the open doors. He stood near a large window, looking down at the street below. Pigeon watching, Barnaby, a familiar voice called out. Barnaby turned to see Lieutenant Hager walking toward him, a folder tucked under his arm. Hello, Lieutenant, Barnaby greeted him. Yeah, so I am carrying messages. Well, that is how you get your information, Hager smiled. You here on the Van Hoof robbery? I got one more tenant on this floor to question, a lawyer, Barnaby explained. What are your thoughts on the connection between a leaper and a robbery? Well, we were working on that theory, but we cannot tie them together, Hager admitted, shaking his head. Team meet. Leaper attracts a crowd, ties up traffic. Your squad car cannot get through. I know, Barnaby said. Coincidence? So far, unless we can prove otherwise, Hager said. I do not believe in coincidences, Barnaby stated firmly. Their conversation was interrupted as a door down the hall opened, and a distinguished-looking man in a tailored suit stepped out. Mr. Harris, Lieutenant Hager called out, stepping forward. Yes, Peter Harris replied, stopping and offering a polite, professional smile. I am Lieutenant Hager, the detective introduced himself. Oh, yes, Lieutenant, Peter said, his tone cooperative. My secretary told me you had stopped by. I am sorry I have been so busy. As a matter of fact, I am on my way right now. Just one question or two, Hager said. I have to check everyone on this floor who was here during the time of the burglary. It is just routine. I see, Peter nodded. Now, your secretary said that you were in your office from 2 to 5:30 on the afternoon of the burglary, Hager asked, consulting his notepad. Yes, that is right, Peter confirmed. Did you step out into the corridor at all during that time? Hager inquired. No, I do not think so, Peter replied smoothly. That is your office back there in the corner, Barnaby chimed in, stepping forward to join the conversation. You had a better view of the leaper than I did from where I was standing. Barnaby Jones, Peter Harris. How do you do? Peter said, shaking Barnaby's hand with a firm, practiced grip. Well, that is quite possible, Mr. Jones, but I am not sure where you were standing. Well, did you see him when he first came out on the ledge? Barnaby asked, his sharp eyes observing Peter's body language. No, I did not, Peter answered without missing a beat. Say, do you mind if I come up to your office sometime and take a look with you? Barnaby asked, his tone casual, but his intent precise. No, not at all. Not at all, Peter replied, offering a polite nod.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, gentlemen.
With that, Peter turned and walked down the hall toward the elevators. Got time for a cup of coffee, Barnaby? Lieutenant Hager asked, watching the lawyer depart. No, thanks, Barnaby declined, his mind already moving to the next lead. Gotta see a lady who had a circus. Chapter 7. Memories of the Big Top. The old circus training grounds on the edge of the city felt like a step back in time. Faded posters of acrobats and lions clung to the wooden walls of the main gymnasium, and the smell of sawdust and leather hung heavy in the air. Barnaby walked through the wide doors, his eyes scanning the space until they landed on a lively, larger-than-life woman directing a group of young performers. Hey, Barnaby, she called out, her face lighting up with immense joy. Oh, Barnaby, it is so good to see you. Oh, it is good to see you, Barnaby laughed, walking over to give her a warm hug. But it is getting more difficult to see you. Yeah, she beamed, gesturing to her transformed figure. Gee, is this not great? Lost 237 pounds. Lost 200, Barnaby teased. No, you won't find them around here. Same old Barnaby, she laughed, shaking her head. Imagine I have not known you since you were that big around. Well, they say in every fat person there is a skinny one screaming to get out. I screamed and here I am. That is great, Flo, Barnaby said sincerely. Oh, I do not know what it is, Flo sighed, looking around the gym. I miss the circus. Always will. Yeah, it went out of style, Barnaby agreed softly. Along with the fat lady. Oh, I am married now, Flo smiled, pointing to a slender man working near the rings. There is Jack Spratt. He is my Weight Watcher. Barnaby pulled a photograph from his pocket and handed it to her. Flo took it, her expression softening instantly. Oh, sure, that is Roy, she said. Roy Hazen, the clown. Gee, he was great. Funny, huh? Barnaby asked. Oh, more than that, she replied. He went high. Airily? Barnaby inquired. More money in it, Flo explained. A guy like that would not have been afraid of heights. Why not? Barnaby asked. It is where he lives, she said simply. Roy all right? Roy is dead, Barnaby told her gently. Gee, I am sorry to hear that, Flo said, her smile fading into sincere sorrow. What happened? Fell, Barnaby replied. Poor clown, Flo murmured, staring at the photo. Flo, where would a guy like that go to keep in shape? Barnaby asked, redirecting his focus. To a gym, I would imagine, she suggested. Any particular one? Barnaby pressed. Mike's in Santa Monica, Flo said. A lot of the refugees from the circus work out there. Thanks, Flo, Barnaby said, turning to leave. And, do not lose any more weight. I may not be able to find you again. Barnaby, heads up, Flo called out with a laugh as a stray juggling club sailed past, which Barnaby deftly avoided with a grin. Chapter 8. The friction of the deal. Back in the city, the tension in the hidden apartment was reaching a boiling point. Ed stood by the window, his arms crossed, while his younger associate paced the floor nervously. Honey, do not give me that, the associate said into the telephone, his voice tight with frustration. I am sorry, sir. Look, first you put me on hold, then you tell me he is not in. Mr. Harris was in earlier, then he left. And I just keep missing him, huh? That is right, sir. Where did he go?
I do not know, sir.
The associate slammed the receiver down, turning to Ed. I told you I do not like that smooth-talking lawyer.
Take it easy, Ed.
He has crossed us. It takes time to fence that stuff, Ed argued, trying to maintain some semblance of order. He has had time, the associate countered angrily. 100 to 1, he is in Mexico. Right now, living it up big on our money. And I have trouble just getting out of bed in the morning. Meanwhile, Barnaby had made his way to Mike's gym in Santa Monica. The sound of clanging weights and squeaking sneakers filled the cavernous room. He found Mike, a rugged man with a towel draped over his shoulder, standing near the high ropes. Roy Hazen, he could do all that stuff, Mike said, watching a young acrobat swing from a trapeze. Acrobats, aerialists, funambulists. Funambulists, Barnaby repeated, questioning the unfamiliar word. Yeah, a rope walker, Mike explained. Used to string a slack rope from the ceiling, work up high on it. Last couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. Did he ever get any jobs rope walking? Barnaby asked. Oh, yeah, that is why he started working up high again, Mike said. He had a job with a sportsman's show, dancing on a high slack rope. Well, thanks for the information, Mike, Barnaby said, preparing to leave. Oh, say, Mike called out, stopping him. I do not know, this might be something. There was this guy came in here right after the sportsman's show closed. And he called Roy over, and they talked. And that is the last time he worked out here. Last time I saw him. Would you recognize the man? Barnaby asked, his interest immediately renewed. Oh, I do not know, Mike admitted, looking toward the exit. They were over by the door. Was he thin, fat, short, tall, young, old? Barnaby pressed. Oh, about 6 feet, early 40s, maybe, Mike described. Good-looking guy. Not a guy that works out. He was an office type. Had a briefcase. Thanks, Barnaby said, a clear picture forming in his mind. Chapter 9. The Shadow of the Lender. In a discreet, private club downtown, Peter Harris sat in a plush booth, waiting. The atmosphere was quiet, the low murmur of wealthy patrons providing a perfect cover for sensitive conversations. A man walked over and slid a thick envelope across the table. Juice? Peter asked, looking at the envelope. Yes, the man replied, sitting down opposite him. It is all there. Do not worry. Well, each time you are a little later, Peter. But we do not worry. At 200% interest, I do not know why you should, Peter said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. That is strictly business, the man replied smoothly. Maybe I should contact Gamblers Anonymous. No, don't. Try instead our champagne flight to Las Vegas. There is a free bus trip to Lake Mead. No, thank you, Peter declined coldly. You do not have to gamble, Peter, the man smiled. Take along your tackle. You can fish Lake Mead. While Peter was navigating his debts, Barnaby was visiting the offices of Van Hoof Gems, the site of the high-profile robbery. He sat across from Miss Temple, a dedicated employee who was still visibly shaken by the events. It all happened so fast that it seems like a dream now, Miss Temple said, her hands trembling slightly. No, Barnaby corrected gently. No, it is more like a nightmare. Yeah, I know. I read the police report. Can you add any more to the description of the two men? Oh, not with those masks they were wearing, she admitted. They were both under 6 feet, though. Yeah. Oh, and I think they were in their 20s. I could tell from the way they moved and talked. Miss Temple, I understand that you received a big shipment of stars from Holland the morning of the robbery, Barnaby noted. Yeah, that is right, she confirmed. Who knew about that shipment? Barnaby asked. I guess everybody who works at Van Hoof's, she replied. Oh, Mr. Jones, if you are thinking that this was, what is it that the police use that word, an inside job? An inside job, you are wrong. Well, now tell me, Barnaby said, leaning forward. Supposing the two people were talking about the shipment, the way we are now, and somebody else overheard the conversation. Oh, Mr. Jones, I think I can vouch for the discretion of everyone in this office, she defended. What about outsiders? Barnaby asked. Outsiders, she repeated, confused. Yeah, maybe somebody that works in your accounting firm, does your books, Barnaby suggested. The accounting firm consists of a Mr. Keller, who has been here for over 25 years, she explained. What about cleaning people at night? Barnaby inquired. Oh, the files are all locked before we leave, she said. They would have no way of finding out anything. Lawyer, Barnaby asked, his tone dropping slightly. Retained by the firm? Oh, well, you're welcome to talk to him if you want to, Miss Temple offered. He is right down the hall. What is his name? Barnaby asked, already knowing the answer. Peter Harris, she said. Is something wrong, Mr. Jones? She asked, noticing the sharp look in his eyes. No, Barnaby replied, a grim smile appearing on his face. Something is right. Thank you. Chapter 10. High-rises and hidden files. The city of Los Angeles was changing, its skyline climbing higher with every passing year. Barnaby stood near the window of Peter Harris's office, once more, looking out at the sprawling metropolis. "We leave Los Angeles. We go high-rise," Barnaby murmured to himself. "On account of the earthquake. Beginning to look like New York City down here. I liked it better the other way." Appleby, a colleague who had joined him, offered a dry smile. "I am not quite that old, Mr. Jones." The door opened, and Peter Harris walked in, looking surprised to see his visitor. "Mr. Harris," Barnaby said, turning to greet him. "Took you up on your offer." "Come in, Mr. Jones," Peter said, maintaining his professional demeanor. "Thank you," Barnaby said, walking over to the window. "Say, you really had a grandstand seat, didn't you? Did you notice the way the leaper checked his watch?" "No," Peter replied, sitting behind his desk. "He checked it," Barnaby continued, "and then he moved down to the corner of the building. I thought that was odd." Barnaby's eyes wandered to Peter's desk, landing on the custom-made briefcase resting nearby. "Say, that is a beautiful case." "Thank you," Peter said, his voice tightening slightly. "I have never seen one like this before," Barnaby noted, running a finger along the seam. "Yes, I had it made," Peter explained. "Unusual lining," Barnaby observed, catching a glimpse of the purple fabric inside. "Yes, I am very fond of paisley," Peter replied coldly. "Did you notice the way his knee buckled just before he jumped?" Barnaby asked, shifting the subject back to the tragedy.
"No, I did not," Peter said.
"It did," Barnaby insisted. "I checked it on the television coverage." "Did you know he was a circus performer?" "No, actually," Peter lied smoothly. "I never followed the story." "You are an ambulance," Barnaby said, using a dry investigator's metaphor. "How do you like that word, rope walker? A man like that has absolutely no fear of heights." "Look, Mr. Jones," Peter said, standing up, his patience wearing thin. "If you have come up here to think out loud, I am really quite busy." "Oh, I am sorry," Barnaby apologized, walking toward the door. "The window opens, does it not? You have got to call over to the leaper, give him some legal advice." "I am going. Thanks for the view." Chapter 11. The Informant's Thread. The neon lights of a local diner buzzed in the twilight as Barnaby slipped into a corner booth. A small, nervous-looking man named Eddie was already waiting, nursing a cup of black coffee. "And you sound happy," Eddie said as Barnaby sat down. "What happened?" "Everything is starting to make sense," Barnaby revealed. "Have you heard from little Eddie?" "Oh." When a call goes out for the best informant in the business, it does not take little Eddie long to answer. He is inside. Eddie smiled proudly. "Eddie," Barnaby said warmly. "Hey, Bobby," Eddie greeted him, using Barnaby's old nickname. "I thought you were out in the boondocks, raising turnips." "Sometimes I am, but it is not turnips," Barnaby corrected with a chuckle. "It is rutabagas, Eddie. Rutabagas." "Oh, sorry," Eddie laughed. "They are all roots to me." "What did you find out about Peter Harris?" Barnaby asked, leaning in. "Best lawyer in town," Eddie said. "More than that. He likes Vegas a lot. That is, what I mean, more like that." "I thought so," Barnaby nodded. "Got a juicy one for you," Eddie continued, lowering his voice. "Harris dropped $50,000 in Vegas 5 months ago. Had to go and hawk to a so-called loan company to pay his markers." "How does he stand with the loan company?" Barnaby asked. "Paid up," Eddie revealed. "Yesterday." "Interest, too?" Barnaby inquired. "Right," Eddie confirmed. "All the juice. 200%. $150,000. Nice business, huh?" "Beats raising rutabagas," Barnaby agreed. "Thanks, Eddie. Always wanted to do business with a gentleman farmer," Eddie smiled.
"Call me anytime, Bobby."
Chapter 12. The Gathering Storm. At Peter Harris's beautiful suburban home, Brooke was busy packing a suitcase in the master bedroom. The house was quiet, filled with the luxurious items Peter had showered upon her. The front door opened and Peter walked in, looking tired but determined. He went straight to the bedroom, finding his wife surrounded by clothes.
"Hello," Peter said.
"Yeah," Brooke replied, looking up.
"Hi."
"Oh, there you are. Hey, you're home early." "Yes," Peter said, walking over to her. "I wanted to give myself time to pack." "Pack?" Brooke asked, stopping what she was doing. "Pack for what?" Oh, didn't I tell you? Peter smiled. No, we are leaving for Hawaii tomorrow morning. What is the occasion? She asked, her brow furrowing. Well, I did not think we needed one, Peter said, trying to sound cheerful. But if it will make you any happier.
Hey.
What is wrong? Hawaii, Brooke said, her voice filled with a sudden, heavy doubt. I do not know, it is just first the car, now the trip. Well, what is wrong with that? Peter asked, his smile faltering. Peter, she said, looking him dead in the eye. I am not a child. You do not have to buy me things. Oh, baby, Peter said, reaching out to hold her. I will remember that, I promise you. After we come back from Hawaii, I will pack. The doorbell rang, interrupting their conversation. Peter walked down the hall and opened the door to find Barnaby Jones standing on the porch. Sorry to bother you again, Mr. Harris, Barnaby said politely. Your wife let me in. She is an attractive woman. Thank you, Peter said, his voice guarded. Say, I like this place, Barnaby observed, looking around the elegant foyer. Better than your downtown office. What a magnificent trophy. Bighorn sheep. Vanishing species. Yes, but I shot it years ago, Mr. Jones, Peter said. Oh, yeah, when shooting was still going on, Barnaby noted. Who are you working for, Mr. Jones? Peter asked directly. The police? No, I have my own business, Barnaby replied. Private investigation. Oh, I see, Peter said. You are investigating the robbery for the insurance company. No, I am investigating a coincidence, Barnaby corrected. Your robbery occurred just about the time Roy Hazen fell to his death. Well, I am a lawyer, Mr. Jones, and I deal in facts, not coincidences, Peter said, his tone hardening. That is funny, Barnaby mused. I know some lawyers who made a fortune turning facts into coincidences. I am not that kind of a lawyer, Peter stated. And you do not like coincidences either, Barnaby observed. I believe that the jewel thieves were probably waiting for just such an opportunity. Well, anything. That leaper, when he appeared, I simply seized upon him. Then you do not see any connection between the leaper and the thieves, Barnaby asked. Well, I do not see how, Mr. Jones, since the leaper is dead, Peter argued. That is true, Barnaby conceded, his eyes drifting to a gun rack on the wall. Interesting rifle. Telescopic sight.
Takedown. Neat.
.22 long rifle, steel jacket. Is that not kind of unusual for game? Makes a small hole, goes right through, Peter explained coldly. You have to get a head or a heart shot. You must be quite a marksman, Barnaby said. I used to be, Peter replied. I wonder if you would excuse me now, Mr. Jones. I have some work to do. Of course, Barnaby said, turning toward the door. Good day, Mr. Harris. Good day, Mr. Jones, Peter said, closing the door behind him. Barnaby walked down the driveway, pausing as Brooke stepped out onto the porch. Well, your husband is a busy man, Barnaby said to her. I did not want to take up too much of his time. I guess he has a lot of things to do before we leave, Brooke explained. Going on a trip, Barnaby asked. Hawaii, she revealed. Why, going there without swim fins and a mask is like going to Palm Springs without a tennis racket, Barnaby smiled. Yeah, I guess you were right, she agreed. Oh, Miss Harris, Barnaby said, pausing. Do you know a man named Roy Hazen? Roy Hazen, she repeated, thinking.
No. Why?
I thought he was a friend of your husband, Barnaby said. I do not think so, she replied. I guess I was mistaken, Barnaby conceded. Aloha. Chapter 13. The Cost of Secrets. Later that evening, Peter Harris stood in a secluded alleyway behind a rundown warehouse. A dark sedan pulled up, and Ed and his associate stepped out, their faces obscured by the shadows. Candyman, the associate sneered. You are late. Better late than never, Peter replied, keeping his voice low. I am afraid I have got some bad news. Like what Ed demanded. Most of the stuff was too easily traced, Peter explained. The fence would not touch it. I knew you were going to pull something, the associate spat, stepping forward aggressively. I am not pulling anything, Peter insisted, holding up a briefcase. I have got $100,000 here. $50,000 for you, and $50,000 for me. We do not like it, the associate threatened. Either you can take it or leave it, Peter said coldly, his hand slipping toward his pocket. Just answer your questions. Now, we're going to go to your place, and we're going to take all of it. The situation escalated in a flash of movement, but Peter was prepared, his cold calculation keeping him one step ahead of the desperate men. Meanwhile, Barnaby was back at the police forensics laboratory, examining a small sample under a microscope. Lieutenant Hager stood nearby, waiting for the results. Thanks, Jim, Barnaby said to the lab technician. I will have this fabric back in the morning. There is no hurry, Hager said. Say, I am sorry the lab did not have a better report for you, but his knee, the cap, and all was shattered. There was really no way to tell. This may do it, Barnaby said, pointing to the sample. It is sidewalk concrete, and that is all. What did you hope to find? Hager asked. Traces of steel, Barnaby explained. The way I figure, Roy Hazen was shot through the knee with a steel jacket bullet. Smashed the kneecap and went on through, and I was trying to prove it. Barnaby, according to the paper, that jewel robbery has been solved, Hager revealed, pulling out a late edition newspaper. What? Barnaby asked, surprised. It is a late edition, just arrived, Hager said, handing it over. It is a falling out among thieves. Says that 2 men must have gotten into an argument and shot each other. 3 pieces of the Van Hoof heist were found in the apartment. Police theorized the rest of the jewelry had already been fenced. And that clears Peter Harris of the robbery, Barnaby noted, his eyes narrowing as he read the headline. Pretty neat. Very neat, Hager agreed.
Got to be something.
Where are you going? To be a funambulist, Barnaby said, his determination hardening. Evidence of a pigeon. Chapter 14. The Loose Ends of Purple Paisley. The 8th floor of the Whitman building was quiet now, the offices closed for the night. Barnaby stood on the concrete ledge outside Peter Harris's office window, carefully examining the stone surface with a magnifying glass and a flashlight. You got your case all wrapped up, Lieutenant, Barnaby called out as Hager leaned out of the open window. Well, if I did, I would not be retracing my steps to see if I have overlooked anything, Hager admitted. Well, I am afraid all I have got so far is a bunch of loose ends, Barnaby said, climbing back through the window. Or maybe I should say loose threads. What do you mean? Hager asked. These were caught on one of the earrings in Frank Tilden's apartment, part of the Van Hoof loot, Barnaby said, holding up a small glass vial containing tiny purple threads. Pretty color. What did your lab say about these? Some kind of Italian silk, Hager replied. May I keep these for about an hour? Barnaby asked. Of course, Hager agreed. Thanks, Lieutenant, Barnaby said, heading for the door. A short while later, Barnaby walked into Peter Harris's office without an appointment. Peter's secretary tried to stop him, but Barnaby gently bypassed her. Tell him I am busy, Peter's voice called out from his inner office. No, wait a minute, Peter corrected as he saw Barnaby enter. Ask him to come in. Well, Jones, did you find that coincidence you have been after? I like this view, Barnaby said, walking over to the window and looking out. I just saw you out there on the ledge. Find anything? Yes, Peter said, his voice guarded. Yes, I did. And I cannot help but admire this case of yours again, Barnaby said, pointing to the custom briefcase on the desk. It is a beauty. Such fine silk. You know, Jones, I just do not understand you, Peter said, rising from his chair. I mean, this robbery has been solved. So the papers say, Barnaby agreed. And the jumper, the leaper, was a suicide, Peter added. Yes, but I do not believe all that, Barnaby said. What do you believe? Peter challenged. That it wasn't a coincidence, Barnaby stated firmly. That you were the coincidence. Wait, Jones, Peter laughed nervously. That is ridiculous. I do not think so, Barnaby said, reaching for his pocket. Why that call? Peter asked, his eyes darting to the telephone. I have got him, Barnaby said into his pocket receiver, signaling his associate. Betty, I have got him. Call Lieutenant Hager. Tell him to send a squad car to 806 Stone Drive in Bel Air. Chapter 15. The Final Act. At the Harris residence, the atmosphere was frantic. Peter was grabbing suitcases and throwing them toward the door, while Brooke watched him in terror. Why, what is wrong? Brooke cried. Why are we leaving now instead of in the morning? Go inside and check that we have got everything, Peter ordered, his voice sharp and panicked. Peter, she pleaded. Do it, Peter yelled. As Brooke retreated into the house, a car pulled up the driveway, its headlights cutting through the darkness. Barnaby Jones stepped out, blocking Peter's path. We are in a hurry, Jones, Peter said, reaching inside his jacket. What do you want? The police found these threads in Frank Tilden's apartment, Barnaby said, holding up the vial of purple silk. They were caught on the back of some jewelry. So, Peter challenged. Why tell me? Because it is curious, Barnaby explained calmly. About an hour ago, I plucked some threads out of the lining of that custom-built briefcase of yours, and they match. The way I figure it, you held out 3 pieces of jewelry. You took a picture, took them to Tilden's apartment. Then, after you killed your 2 partners, you planted the jewelry so it would look like they killed each other fighting over the loot. Looks like I figured right. Get up against the car, Barnaby commanded, his voice steady as he pulled a service revolver. Peter stared at him, his face contorted with rage. I am usually not much of a betting man, Harris, Barnaby said, but I will lay odds you would never make it to that airplane this evening. You will never know one way or another, Jones, Peter sneered, lunging forward. But Barnaby was too quick, sidestepping the lawyer and pinning him against the hood of the sedan just as the police sirens began to wail in the distance. Get in the car, Barnaby said as Lieutenant Hager and his men arrived to take Peter into custody. I guess you were smart not to take that bet after all. A few days later, the quiet of the canyon had returned. Barnaby stood with Miss Phillips near Roy Hazen's porch, the small wooden clown toy sitting quietly on the table. He did not kill himself, she said, her voice filled with a quiet peace. I just knew it, and I have you to thank for proving that. But why do you think he got mixed up in a robbery? Why do you think he did it? Maybe he was looking for a shortcut to heaven, Barnaby suggested gently. You? She murmured, looking at the toy. Me? Barnaby asked. The way you figured, that took big money, she said softly. But I thought I had shown him that we did not need much. When a man loves you, truly loves you, Barnaby said, looking out over the peaceful canyon, that is sometimes a hard message to get across. The city of Los Angeles was draped in its usual golden afternoon haze, a sprawling metropolis where dreams and realities constantly collided. In the heart of the business district, the Whitman building stood tall, its polished glass windows reflecting the bright California sun. On the 8th floor, a high-stakes drama was unfolding in the quiet corridors of Van Hoff Gems. Inside the jewelry firm, the atmosphere shattered into pure chaos. The air was thick with tension as masked figures moved with practiced speed. One of the intruders cornered a terrified staff member, his voice a harsh whisper. Leave me alone, the man gasped, trembling against the cold wall. Stay away from me. Come on, get out of here, the second masked figure hissed, pushing past him.
Move. Come on.
Shut the door. Shut it. Up against the wall. Open the safe. Open the safe. Open it. The demands were sharp, cutting through the panic. Outside, the distant wail of sirens began to rise from the streets below, echoing through the concrete canyons. A voice crackled over the police band, urgent and sterile. Attention all units in the vicinity of 5th and Main. A 211 in progress at Whitman Building, 8th floor, Van Hoff Gems.
Code 3.
While the robbery was underway inside, a very different scene was playing out on the street level. A crowd had gathered, their eyes locked on the upper ledges of the building. High above, a man was suspended on a wire, moving with an eerie, quiet grace that seemed to defy gravity. But, to the spectators below, it looked like a tragedy in the making. Far away from the chaotic center of the city, in a quiet, sun-drenched suburban driveway, a young woman stood with her hands over her mouth in sheer delight. Brooke Phillips stared at the gleaming, brand-new automobile parked in front of her house. Oh, Peter, she breathed, turning to the handsome man standing beside her.
Oh, my.
It is such a beautiful car. Are you surprised? I just came outside, and there it was, Brooke said, her eyes shining with tears of joy. I thought it belonged to somebody else until I read your note. Oh, really? I really do not need all those things.
You are going to spoil me.
Well, I am going to do my best anyway, Peter Harris replied with a warm, smooth smile, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. Why not? You are the most important thing in my whole life. A colleague walked out of the nearby house, waving toward them. Your partners are waiting, Peter. How about joining us? No, not right now, Peter called back, his tone casual and relaxed. I've got a little work to do. I will see you later. But the lightheartedness of the afternoon did not last. News traveled fast, and soon, the tragic report of a man falling from the Whitman building gripped the city. The police labeled it a suicide, a desperate leap by a down-on-his-luck performer named Roy Hazen. But Brooke Phillips could not accept that explanation. She sat in the comfortable office of Barnaby Jones, her hands tightly clasping a handkerchief. Roy would not do it, she said, her voice trembling but firm. I know. How do you know, Miss Phillips? Barnaby asked gently, leaning back in his chair. Because he just was not the type to kill himself, Brooke replied, looking directly into the investigator's warm, perceptive eyes. He was never depressed. Well, now, that is hard to say, Barnaby said with a sympathetic sigh. You see, people who go along apparently on top, and then one day they let a gun to their head, or they take a terrible step off a ledge. But not Roy, she insisted. He was up, and lately he was really up.
He was so excited.
Do you know why? Something about a new job, Brooke said, trying to recall the details. What kind of job? I am not sure exactly. What kind of work did Roy do? Barnaby asked, taking a sip of his tea. Roy did everything, Brooke explained, a fond smile breaking through her sadness. You name it, he was a handyman, a gardener, groundskeeper, a carpenter. But most of all, he was a clown. A clown? Barnaby smiled, his interest piqued. As in funny? As in clown, she said softly. Kids' parties and supermarket openings, hospitals. But most of all, Roy liked to make people laugh. I think that is great, Barnaby said, his eyes reflecting a deep appreciation for the craft. To be a clown. Grimaldi, Pagliacci, all the great clowns with their baggy clothes and bouquets of carrots. That was Roy, Brooke agreed. And their painted-on smiles hiding all the sadness underneath, Barnaby added quietly, testing her reaction. Roy was not sad, she said, her voice rising in protest. And he did not kill himself. You are pretty sure of this, are you not? Yes, she said, looking at him pleadingly. You have got to help me prove it. Did you go to the police for this? Well, I feel kind of silly going to the police, she admitted. Where did Roy live? Next to me in the canyon, Brooke said. I could show you. Let us go, Barnaby said, rising from his desk and reaching for his coat. Meanwhile, in a secluded cabin nestled in the hills, two men were sorting through a glittering array of stolen diamonds and precious metals. The light from a single overhead lamp made the gems sparkle with a cold, hard brilliance. This is nice, one of the men said, running his fingers through the loot. It is really very nice. It is almost a shame Roy is not here to see it. Almost, but not quite, his partner replied with a cynical chuckle. The pie is always a little bit tastier when the pieces are bigger. Besides, like you said, it was an accident. He lost his balance. That is right, the first man agreed. How much do you think we are going to get? Well, it is impossible to say, the other replied. You said that new shipment alone was worth more than $1.5 million. On the open market? Yes, but not to a fence, the partner cautioned. Do not worry. I will see if we get a good price. We will make it soon. I do not like hanging around here any longer than I have to. Well, if you care to, I can always have your share forwarded to you. A smooth, refined voice spoke from the shadows of the cabin door. It was Peter Harris, looking immaculate even in the rustic surroundings. It is all right, the first thief said, stepping back. I will wait. Peter smiled, pulling a small notebook from his jacket pocket. Later that evening, he made a phone call from a public booth, his voice dropping to a confidential tone. Danny, it is always a pleasure to hear your voice, Peter said into the receiver. I will have that money for you in a day or two. Oh, is that a day or two? A gruff voice on the other end replied. 2, Peter confirmed.
2. Got it.
I am marking that down, Danny said, his tone carrying a subtle, dangerous edge. Do not put me on now, Peter. This time it is for sure. You have got a sure thing, huh, Peter? You know, gamblers pick up such interesting phrases. Now you have got a sure thing. Big odds? I am not gambling for this money, Peter said coldly. I certainly hope not, Danny replied. I marked down the number 2 in my appointment book, Peter. I would say that would be Thursday. Now, if you do not show up on Thursday, on Friday, I am going to have to feel havoc on Thursday. Relax, Peter said, maintaining his composure. There is always a first time for everything. Our mutual friend did say it was your first time. Did he not? Danny chuckled. It does not matter. Amateur or pro, I predict a real future for you. The next day, Peter met with a notorious fence in a secluded warehouse to negotiate the sale of the stolen Van Hoff gems. The fence examined the diamonds under a loupe, his expression unreadable. $425,000, the fence offered, setting the loupe down. Worth almost $2 million, Peter countered, his eyes narrowing. Not to me, the fence said simply. Then there is no deal, Peter said, reaching for the velvet pouch. The fence smiled slowly, gesturing for him to wait. Maybe I missed something.
Yes.
A simple oversight. I think I can go $450,000.
Why?
Why quibble? I will have to have cash, Peter demanded. You did not expect me to give you a personal check, did you? The fence laughed. I will have to have a day or so to get the money. I was right about you. You have a future. While Peter was navigating the criminal underbelly, Barnaby Jones was standing with Brooke Phillips in Roy's old cabin. The room was filled with colorful clown costumes, giant shoes, and wooden props. It was a space that had once been filled with joy, now silent and empty. You would have liked him, Mr. Jones, Brooke said, holding a handmade rag doll. He loved to make people laugh. A kid made him this. Barnaby gently took the doll, examining its bright yarn hair. I just can't get it out of my mind that clowns are traditionally melancholy. You still do not believe me, do you? She asked, her eyes searching his face. I believe you were in love, Barnaby said softly. Was he? Yes, she replied without hesitation. He did not tell me that he had actually been with a circus, Barnaby mused, looking around the room. He never mentioned it to me. I wonder what else he did mention, Barnaby muttered to himself. Suddenly, a voice called out from the driveway. Oh, up here. I will be down in a minute. Brooke looked out the window. There is a delivery truck over at my house. I will be right back. Barnaby watched her go, then continued to look through Roy's papers. A few minutes later, Brooke returned, holding a beautifully wrapped package. She opened it to reveal a set of matching wedding bands. A small note was tucked inside. It is for Roy, Brooke said, her voice catching in her throat. The delivery man said he ordered these 3 days ago to be delivered today. She read the note aloud, tears spilling over her eyelashes. Sorry I had to run off on business. Be back tonight. Now we can get married. I love you, Roy. She looked up at Barnaby, her face filled with painful conviction. Does that sound like a man who could commit suicide? No, Barnaby admitted, his expression hardening with resolve. No, it surely did not. But what was he doing out there on that ledge? To find the answer, Barnaby visited the county coroner's office. He stood over the examination table where Jim, the medical examiner, was reviewing the files. No need for an autopsy, Jim said, shaking his head.
Nope.
Death by massive concussion. Funny about that right kneecap, Barnaby pointed out, looking at the medical diagrams. There were a lot of broken bones, Jim noted. Yeah, in the upper part of the body. But the upper part of the body is the heavy part of the body that dictates the fall. Roy Hazen landed headfirst, right? Right. Barnaby agreed. And how did he get a smashed right kneecap? Maybe it got twisted under him somehow, Jim suggested, though he did not sound entirely convinced. Does that satisfy you? It doesn't satisfy me, Barnaby said. Thanks, Jim. Barnaby returned to his office, where his assistant, Billy, was waiting with more information. Barnaby, Billy said, handing him a file. What are you driving at? I do not know yet, Barnaby said. Could you hold that, please? Hold that, Harry. He turned to his associate. Sorry I am late. I talked to Sergeant Danvers. Roy Hazen did have a police record, but nothing much. About 8 years ago, he was tried and convicted on a bunco charge in Lima, Ohio. That must have been when he was with the circus, Billy noted. Well, at least now we know he had a little larceny in his heart. Okay, roll it, Barnaby said, pointing to a film projector they had set up. Roll it. Coming up is that other angle I told you about, Mr. Jones. The screen flickered to life, showing news footage of the crowd and the figure on the 8th floor ledge of the Whitman building. Yeah, that is the one, Barnaby said, leaning closer. Notice the way he checks his watch. I wonder why he did that. In some earlier footage, his right knee seemed to give way. Lost his balance? Billy asked. Who took this film? Barnaby inquired. Paul Franklin, Billy replied. From where? The 8th floor Whitman building. Okay, thanks, Tom, Barnaby said. Roll through, Harry. Thanks. Barnaby decided to visit the Whitman building himself. As he stood in the hallway of the 8th floor, looking out the large window, Lieutenant Hager of the police department walked up behind him. Pigeon watching, Barnaby? Hager asked with a dry smile. Hello, Lieutenant, Barnaby greeted him. Yeah, so I am carrying messages. Well, that is how you get your information, Hager said. You hear on the Van Hoff robbery? I got one more tenant on this floor to question, a lawyer, Barnaby said. What are your thoughts on the connection between a leaper and a robbery? Well, we were working on that theory, but we cannot tie them together, Hager admitted. Team meet. Leaper attracts a crowd, ties up traffic. Your squad car cannot get through.
I know.
Coincidence? Barnaby asked. So far, unless we can prove otherwise, Hager said. I do not believe in coincidences, Barnaby said flatly. At that moment, the door to a nearby office opened, and a man stepped out into the hallway. It was Peter Harris, holding a sleek, custom-designed leather briefcase. Mr. Harris? Hager called out. Yes, Peter replied, stopping in his tracks. I am Lieutenant Hager, the detective introduced himself. Oh, yes, Lieutenant, Peter said, his voice smooth and professional. My secretary told me you had stopped by. I am sorry I have been so busy. As a matter of fact, I am on my way right now. Just one question or two, Hager said. I have to check everyone on this floor who was here during the time of the burglary. It is just routine. I see, Peter said. Now, your secretary said that you were in your office from 2 to 5:30 on the afternoon of the burglary? Yes, that is right, Peter confirmed. Did you step out into the corridor at all during that time? No, I do not think so, Peter said. That is your office back there in the corner, Barnaby chimed in, pointing down the hall. You had a better view of the leaper than I did from where I was standing. Barnaby Jones, Peter Harris. How do you do? Well, that is quite possible, Mr. Jones, Peter said, shaking Barnaby's hand with a polite but cool grip. But I am not sure where you were standing. Well, did you see him when he first came out on the ledge? Barnaby asked. No, I didn't, Peter replied. Say, do you mind if I come up to your office sometime and take a look with you? Barnaby asked. No, not at all, Peter said, stepping toward the elevator. Thank you. Nice to meet you, gentlemen. Got time for a cup of coffee, Barnaby? Hager asked as the elevator doors closed. No, thanks, Barnaby said, a thoughtful expression on his face. Gotta see a lady who had a circus. Barnaby drove out to a colorful, chaotic trailer park on the outskirts of the city where retired circus performers lived. He knocked on the door of a brightly painted trailer, and a jovial, larger-than-life woman opened it. Hey, Barnaby. Oh, Barnaby. It is so good to see you, Flo cried, wrapping him in a warm hug. Oh, it is good to see you, but it is getting more difficult to see you. Barnaby laughed, stepping back. Yeah. Gee, ain't this great? Flo said, spinning around. Lost 237 pounds. Lost 200? Barnaby gasped. No, you won't find them around here. Same old Barnaby, Flo chuckled. Imagine, I haven't known you since you were that big around. Well, they say in every fat person there is a skinny one screaming to get out, Barnaby said warmly. I screamed, and here I am. That is great, Flo, Barnaby said. Oh, I do not know what it is, Flo sighed, looking around her trailer. I miss the circus. Always will. Yeah, it went out of style, Barnaby agreed gently. Along with the fat lady, Flo laughed. Oh, I am married now. There is Jack Sprat. He is my Weight Watcher. She pointed to a framed photograph on the wall, then gestured to another picture of a group of performers. Flo, Barnaby said, pointing to one of the men in the photo. That is Roy. Roy Hazen, the clown. Gee, he was great.
Funny, huh?
Oh, more than that, he went high, Flo said. Airily? More money in it, Flo explained. A guy like that wouldn't have been afraid of heights.
Why not?
It is where he lives, Flo said. Roy all right? Roy is dead, Barnaby said quietly. Gee, I am sorry to hear that, Flo said, her smile fading. What happened? Fell, Barnaby replied. Poor clown, Flo sighed, shaking her head. Flo, where would a guy like that go to keep in shape? Barnaby asked. To a gym, I'd imagine, Flo said. Any particular one? Mike's in Santa Monica, Flo told him. A lot of the refugees from the circus work out there. Thanks, Flo, Barnaby said, kissing her cheek. And do not lose any more weight. I may not be able to find you again. Barnaby. Heads up. Flo laughed as he waved goodbye. Barnaby drove down to Santa Monica and located Mike's gym, a rustic building filled with the sounds of clanking weights, squeaking ropes, and the smell of chalk and sweat. He found Mike, a burly man with a towel draped around his neck. Honey, don't give me that, Mike was saying into a wall-mounted telephone. I am sorry, sir. Look, first you put me on hold, then you tell me he is not in. Mr. Harris was in earlier, then he left. And I just keep missing him, huh? That is right, sir. Where did he go? I do not know, sir. Mike slammed the receiver down in frustration. I told you I do not like that smooth talking.
Take it easy, Ed.
He has crossed us. It takes time to fence that stuff. He has had time. 101, he is in Mexico. Right now, living it up big on our money. And I have trouble just getting out of bed in the morning. Barnaby approached the counter, clearing his throat. Excuse me, Mike? Yeah? Mike turned, wiping his brow. I wanted to ask you about Roy Hazen, Barnaby said. Oh, yeah, Mike said, his expression softening. You know, Roy Hazen, he could do all that stuff. Acrobats, aerialists, funambulists. Funambulists? Barnaby repeated. Yeah, a rope walker, Mike explained. Used to string a slack rope from the ceiling, work up high on it. Last couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. Did he ever get any jobs rope walking? Oh, yeah, that is why he started working up high again, Mike said. He had a job with a sportsman's show, dancing on a high slack rope. Well, thanks for the information, Mike, Barnaby said. Oh, say, Mike called out as Barnaby turned to leave. I do not know, this might be something. There was this guy came in here right after the sportsman's show closed. And he called Roy over, and they talked. And that is the last time he worked out here. Last time I saw him. Would you recognize the man? Barnaby asked. Oh, I do not know, Mike said, squinting as he thought back. They were over by the door. Was he thin, fat, short, tall, young, old? Oh, about 6 feet, early 40s, maybe, Mike described. Good-looking guy. Not a guy that works out. You know, he was an office type. Had a briefcase. Thanks, Barnaby said, his mind putting the pieces together. Meanwhile, Peter Harris was back in his office, meeting with Danny, the loan shark's representative. A heavy briefcase sat on the desk between them. Juice? Peter asked, opening the briefcase to reveal neat stacks of bills. Yes, the representative said, counting the money quickly. It is all there.
Do not worry.
Well, each time you are a little later, Peter, Danny's voice came through the speakerphone on the desk. But we do not worry. At 200% interest, I do not know why you should. That is strictly business, Peter said coldly. Maybe I should contact Gamblers Anonymous, Danny chuckled. No, don't, Peter replied. Try instead our champagne flight to Las Vegas, Danny suggested. There is a free bus trip to Lake Mead. No, thank you, Peter said, closing the briefcase. You do not have to gamble, Peter, Danny said. Take along your tackle. You can fish Lake Mead. Peter hung up the phone, a look of intense relief and determination on his face. He had paid off his debts, and now it was time to secure his future. Later that afternoon, Barnaby Jones visited the offices of Van Hoff Gems to speak with Miss Temple, the head secretary who had been present during the robbery. It all happened so fast that it seems like a dream now, Miss Temple said, her hands trembling slightly as she held a cup of tea.
No.
No, it is more like a nightmare. Yeah, I know, Barnaby said gently. I read the police report. Can you add any more to the description of the two men? Oh, not with those masks they were wearing, she said. They were both under 6 feet, though.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think they were in their 20s. I could tell from the way they moved and talked. Miss Temple, I understand that you received a big shipment of stars from Holland the morning of the robbery, Barnaby noted. Yeah, that is right, she said. Who knew about that shipment? I guess everybody who works at Van Hoff's, she replied. Oh, Mr. Jones, if you are thinking that this was, what is it that the police use that word?
An inside job.
An inside job. You are wrong. Well, now tell me, supposing the two people were talking about the shipment the way we are now, and somebody else overheard the conversation, Barnaby suggested. Oh, Mr. Jones, I think I can vouch for the discretion of everyone in this office, she said defensively. What about outsiders? Outsiders? Yeah, maybe somebody that works in your accounting firm, does your books, Barnaby said. The accounting firm consists of a Mr. Keller, who has been here for over 25 years, she explained. What about cleaning people at night? Oh, the files are all locked before we leave, she said. They would have no way of finding out anything.
Lawyer?
Barnaby asked. Retained by the firm? Oh, well, you are welcome to talk to him if you want to, she said. He is right down the hall.
What is his name? Peter Harris, she replied.
Peter Harris, Barnaby repeated, a sharp light entering his eyes. Is something wrong, Mr. Jones? No, Barnaby said with a slow, knowing smile. Something is right. Thank you. Barnaby walked down the hallway and looked out the window toward the neighboring high-rises. A passing businessman stopped beside him. We leave Los Angeles. We go high-rise, the man said. On account of the earthquake. Beginning to look like New York City down here. I liked it better the other way, Barnaby murmured. Appleby, the man introduced himself. I am not quite that old, Barnaby joked, shaking his hand before walking toward Peter Harris's office. Inside the office, Peter looked up as Barnaby entered. Mr. Harris, Barnaby said. Took you up on your offer. Come in, Mr. Jones, Peter said, masking his annoyance with professional courtesy. Thank you, Barnaby said, walking over to the window. Say, you really had a grandstand seat, didn't you? Did you notice the way the leaper checked his watch? No, Peter said. He checked it, and then he moved down to the corner of the building, Barnaby mused. I thought that was odd. Barnaby's eyes drifted to Peter's desk, where a beautiful leather briefcase lay open. Say, that is a beautiful case.